Good morning, children. It's a language class today, and we will try to understand a few rules of transformation of sentences. The structures that we will study today are not only but also, no sooner than, as soon as, and hardly or scarcely when. Let us begin with the first structure, not only but also. It is a correlative conjunction, and correlative conjunctions always come in pairs. That is, not only followed by but also. You have to use both of them together, of course, in different places. They relate one sentence or a clause to another. A few other examples of correlative conjunctions are the pairs neither nor, either or, no sooner than, etc. The structure not only but also can be used in two ways. You may either begin the sentence with not only or use it in the middle of the sentence. Not only did we study grammar but also solved a few exercises. Or we not only studied grammar but also solved a few exercises. Usually, in the examination, in the question paper, the instruction that you get is to begin the sentence with not only. So we will focus on the first one. While transforming a sentence, you must look at it carefully and focus on all the details given so that you do not change its meaning or tense or miss out any detail given in the question. When you begin a sentence with not only, you must place the verb, the auxiliary verb, right after that, right after not only. So the structure goes like this. Not only followed by the auxiliary verb, then the subject, followed by but also, and then the rest of the statement. So if you look at this example again, it is not only did, then we study grammar but also solved a few exercises. You have to follow this order. If you change the order, your sentence will be wrong. For example, if you do not write the verb here, then your answer will be incorrect. If you do not write did here, if you simply write not only we studied grammar, this will be completely wrong. So please remember this structure. Don't forget. You have to write the verb after not only. Then the tense in the answer must be the same. You have to identify the tense in the question, and as far as the auxiliary verb after not only is concerned, do not forget the rules of subject-verb agreement. The subject and verb in your answer must agree with one another. Whether to use a singular or plural auxiliary verb depends on the subject given. And this will be there in the question. You just have to be careful while you write the answer. For example, if the question is, He is rich as well as generous. And the instruction is begin, not only. The answer will be not only, then the verb, subject, but also, and then whatever remains. Not only is he rich, but also generous. Your answer will be this. What I am trying to say is that since the subject, that is he, in the question is singular, the verb in the answer to will be singular. Hence, not only is he and not only are he. This is obviously wrong. Then, since the tense in the question is present, that is, this is very important. The tense in the answer to will be present. You have to write not only is he. You cannot write not only was he. Again, wrong. Next, if there are two actions being performed by a person in the question, you need to write both in the correct order. I have underlined this. The order should remain the same as given in the question. For example, if the question is, she wrote the text and also researched the photographs. Begin, not only. If this is the question, first of all, the words wrote and researched indicate that the sentence is in past tense. Hence, the answer will be in past tense. Not only did she write the text, but also researched the photographs. With did, we do not use past tense. If you write not only did she wrote, it will be wrong because no past tense with did. Hence, not only did she write and not only did she wrote. Another thing that you have to be careful about is that the question says write the text and researched the photographs. Okay? Please do not interchange. Do not write research the text and write photographs. Remember the order and write it like this. The order is very important. Then you do not have to repeat the pronoun she. No repetition of verbs or pronoun. That is, if you write Not only did she, but also she. It'll be wrong because we're talking about the same person. Similarly, repeating verbs when same action is being talked about is wrong. I'm also writing the error so that it is easier for you to understand and you do not forget. I'll give you another example to make this point clearer. If the sentence is she wrote a short story as well as a novel. Begin, not only. Here, we're talking about the same girl. We're talking about the same girl. She wrote two things. Okay? So the action is also the same and the person is also the same. What is the action? Wrote. The sentence is in past tense. What did she write? She wrote a short story as well as a novel. Please focus on the articles. A short story and a novel. You have to begin with not only. The answer will be not only did she write, no past tense with did. So write and not wrote. Not only did she write a, the first thing that has been given in the question is short story. So it should be the first thing that you write in your answer. Not only did she write a short story, but also a novel. Please do not forget to write this a. At times you do not write the article and your answer will be wrong in that case. If you write not only did she write a short story but also novel, it's wrong. But also a novel. Since the action write is common, do not repeat it. Okay? I'll just show you. Do not write not only did she write a short story, but also she wrote, or but also did she write. All these are incorrect. No repetition. I hope you've understood. A few more examples to make it clearer. Before we proceed, I request you to write all these examples in your language registers because you will have to mail the classwork to your respective subject teachers. So please write all the examples, all these questions along with their answers in your register neatly. She cried at my farewell and also gifted me a bouquet. Begin. Not only. So the answer will be, there are two different things, cried and gifted. The sentence is in past tense. Two different actions are being performed. The answer will be, not only did she cry and not cried, not only did she cry at my farewell, but also gifted me a bouquet. The common errors are, not only did she cry, but also gifted a bouquet. What is the error here? If you can notice, I have missed out a few details. That is, at my farewell. I have not written this in my answer. And the second thing is gifted. I've simply written gifted a bouquet. I've not written gifted me a bouquet. And you often do this in the examination. When did she cry? She cried at my farewell and she gifted me a bouquet. So you cannot miss out these details. These are important and the meaning of your sentence will change. Then one last rule, there should not be a comma before but also. You're not supposed to put a comma before but also. I have not put a comma anywhere in the examples. So that was all about beginning a sentence with not only. Now we'll talk about writing not only in the middle of the sentence, using it in the middle of the sentence. The major difference is the position of the verb. When we begin with not only, the helping verb comes before the subject. What do we say? We say, not only did I, or not only did she. So the verb comes before the subject. But when we are using not only in the middle of the sentence, the subject comes before the verb. So subject followed by the verb, followed by not only, but also, and then the rest of the sentence. So she was not only instead of not only was she. I'll give you another example. She was smiling and also had tears in her eyes. What will be the answer? You don't have to begin with not only, you have to use it in the middle of the sentence. So the answer will be, she was, first the subject, then the verb. She was not only smiling but also had tears in her eyes. We do not have to invert the word order, okay? In beginning the sentence with not only, we invert the word order. We write not only was she or not only did I. So the word order is inverted, but if we are using it in the middle of the sentence, then there's no need for us to invert the word order. She was not only smiling but also had tears in her eyes. One more thing, make sure that you write the correct helping verbs. You can obviously not write that not only, or she was not only had she smiling, or but also was tears. So you cannot write these sentences, okay? Was smiling, and with tears it is had tears in her eyes. So be careful about that. Next, he was a fluent speaker and also an ardent reader. The answer will be he was not only a fluent speaker but also an ardent reader. Please be careful with the articles a fluent and an ardent. Next sentence is I will learn the lessons well and also solve all the practice papers. So the answer will be not only. The sentence is in future tense, so please be careful. It says will. Not only will I learn the lessons well, but also solve all the practice papers. Next, she eats healthy as well as exercises regularly. Not only, the sentence, the question is in simple present tense. Again, be careful. And this is the reason why I am giving you different sentences in different tenses. So, she eats healthy as well as exercises regularly. Here you cannot say not only did she eat. Okay, not only does she eat. Again, subject verb agreement. You not write not only does she eats. Not only does she eat healthy, but also exercises regularly. Next sentence is I will visit my aunt tomorrow and also drop her off at the airport. So the answer will be, again, the sentence is in future tense. Not only will I visit my aunt tomorrow, but also drop her off and then at. Please be careful. Drop her off at the airport. I hope now you've understood the usage of not only but also. Another structure, another pair, no sooner than. No sooner than is used to show that one thing happens immediately after another. No sooner introduces the event that occurred first. Please remember this. The sentence tells us about two events, okay, that happened one after the other, and no sooner we write the first event, the event that occurred first, and then is followed by the event that occurred immediately after the first one, as given in the question. Then do not put a comma when you write a sentence with no sooner than. Do not change the tense, and the word order is inverted, just like in not only but also. The structure will be subject, no sooner plus helping verb, than, and then the rest of the sentence. It can be no sooner did or no sooner had. If it is did, then you will not write the verb in the past tense. If it is had, then you will write the tense. If the tense in the question is in past tense, then you will write it had. And then with had, of course, you can write the past form of the word. So you need to remember this only for did. I'll give you an example to help you understand this better. No sooner did I enter the class. You cannot write no sooner did I entered the class. It will be wrong. But if you're writing had, no sooner had I, then you will write entered, because this rule we follow with did, not with had. So this will be correct. No sooner had I entered, but no sooner did I enter. So be careful about did and had. And then it is compulsory to use than in your sentence. And as I said before, the word order should be inverted, and by that I mean that it should be no sooner had I and not no sooner I had. If you simply write no sooner I entered or no sooner I had entered, both will be wrong. The correct form is no sooner had I and not I had. We also use hardly had or scarcely had with when to express the same idea as in no sooner than. But there are a few differences. With no sooner, we use than. No sooner and than. This is the pair. And with hardly and scarcely we use when. You cannot use hardly and than together. Please be very careful. Hardly is used with when, and with no sooner you use than. Also, with no sooner you have a choice. You can write either no sooner did or you can write no sooner had. But with hardly, it is mandatory to use had. Hardly had and not hardly did. with hardly, and than with when. I repeat, the question may ask you to begin a sentence with no sooner or with hardly. And these are the few things that you have to be careful about. When, than, and, had, did. I have already told you this. Rest everything is the same, no comma to be put, and like no sooner, hardly and scarcely also are followed by the helping verb. Immediately after hardly, you have the verb. As you can see here, the examples are: no sooner did I reach the station and not reached than the train arrived, or no sooner had I reached the station than the train arrived. Did I reach? Had I reached? Or hardly had I reached the station when the train arrived. If you do not write when with hardly, and if you do not write than with no sooner, your answer will be wrong. Please keep this in your mind. Then, scarcely had I reached the station when the train arrived. I hope you've understood. And the word order in no sooner and hardly is inverted. If you do not follow this, your sentence will be incorrect. So, no sooner did I, hardly had I. Children, do you remember in the poem Daffodils, Wordsworth has also inverted the word order. I hope you remember that line, 10,000 saw I. He has written 10,000 saw I. Okay, he did not say I had seen 10,000. So this is what I mean by inverting the word order. We now come to the last part of today's class, that is as soon as. You may be asked to convert a no sooner sentence into as soon as, or vice versa, or begin a no sooner or as soon as sentence with hardly. So you need to understand the conversion and you need to practice the sentences. While converting a no sooner sentence into as soon as, remember, just like no sooner introduces the first event, in as soon as we write the first event first. And in as soon as you have to put a comma. You write the first event, the first part of the sentence. You begin with as soon as, you write the first event, and then you put a comma. Then you write the thing that happened immediately after that. For example, as soon as I reached the station, I'm taking the same sentence, reached the station, comma. This is very important. I have underlined it. As soon as I reached the station, the train arrived. Full stop. In a sentence beginning with as soon as, we do not write than or when. That's the first thing that you need to remember. Secondly, we do not invert the word order. We say I reached, and we do not say reached I. Okay, so no inversion of the word order. As soon as I reached the station, the train arrived. So the verb comes after the subject. Alright, the verb, I repeat, comes after the subject. Next example is, No sooner did she hear the news than she jumped in glee. So the sentence is with no sooner than, there is no comma. Suppose we have to begin this sentence with as soon as. See, with as soon as you have a choice again. You can either begin the sentence with as soon as or use as soon as in the middle of the sentence. It depends on the instruction that is given in the paper. For example, if we have to begin the sentence with as soon as, the answer will be as soon as. What is the tense? Here it says, did she hear? If there is no did, this will become heard because the sentence is in past tense. As soon as she heard the news. Now the first part of the sentence has been written. The first thing has been mentioned, so we immediately put a comma after this. As soon as she heard the news, comma. What followed? She jumped in glee. Now this is when you begin the sentence with as soon as. If you use it in between, there will be a few changes and the answer will be. Now we will write the second event first. Okay, see, she heard the news first. Okay, first she heard the news and obviously then she jumped in glee. But if you're using as soon as in the middle of the sentence, we will begin with the second event. We'll begin with the second part of the sentence that says, she jumped in glee. Now here you will not put a comma because we will connect the two sentences with as soon as. She jumped in glee when? When did she jump in glee? She jumped in glee as soon as she heard the news. I hope I've made myself very clear to you because this is very, very important. Please understand the difference. Here we have to put a comma. Here, since we are connecting the two sentences with as soon as, there is no need for a comma. And if you put a comma here, your answer will be wrong. And if you change the order, again, your answer will be wrong. Some of you write, this sentence is incorrect. You changed the order. So please be very careful. I'll give you a very funny sentence now, something that you're very familiar with. And that is, no sooner did my father see my report card, no comma, than he compared me. I'm sure you understood the rest of the sentence. Then he compared me with Sharma ji's son. Yes. And you have to begin with as soon as. Your answer will be as soon as. What was the action? What happened first? First, my father saw my report card and then he compared me with Sharmaji's son. Okay, so what is the chronology? As soon as my father saw my report card, since we are beginning the sentence with as soon as, we'll put a comma here. As soon as my father saw my report card, he compared me with Sharmaji's son. And if you have to begin, if you have to use as soon as in the middle of the sentence, it will be, we'll write the second event first. Okay? My father compared me with Sharmaji's son. Here, no comma, we are connecting the two events, we are connecting the two parts of the sentence with as soon as. My father compared me with Sharma ji's son when? As soon as, immediately, as soon as he saw my report card. I am sure you will remember this forever. This is really relatable. So, thank you, children, for attending the class so patiently.